make me whole again. Make it October when the leaves reveal themselves. Lift up, guide away. Don't be in your head today in a flower burial. It's too much to carry it all. And I'm wishing you the best. And all begin in watercress. We haven't been the same, you know, since we buried you below on that still winter day. In the plot you picked out so many years ago, when you laid your wife in her grave. Bring me back to autumn, or lead me on to May. I'm not ready to take them, abandoned on your dying day. Played them a reverie, that's just fine with me. If the crows sit and call, how cold and deep the freeze seals our every home, even after the thaw. But bring me back to autumn, or lead me on to May. I'm not ready to take them, abandoned on your dying day. If I can hear it turn, if I can never learn to fill the void as they say. Grateful I can have this circuit, channel you in my hands, feel your force in a way.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Super excited to have you join our live stream today on a beautiful Tuesday. As you're coming in, please drop in the chat where you're tuning from. And we're just curious to know what AI tool has quietly become part of your daily operating system. And I'm going to start. I'm joining from Boise, Idaho. And depending on the day, my answer is Claude, ChatGPT, or OpenClaw, mostly because they are helping me stop becoming the bottleneck in my own business. So I've got a few things that I wanted to share with today before I bring my wonderful guest in with me. And today, we are going to be talking about AI workflows for event professionals. Now, that doesn't mean that if you are not an event professional, you cannot enjoy this. Very much you could. And also, we don't want to look at this from a point of, oh, look at all these wonderful tools, right? We want to look at how things work, and we're coming at it from scattered inputs, shifting priorities, schedule changes, stakeholders follow-ups, decisions that need context before they need speed. So the theme for today is simple: system progression from visibility to execution and to growth. This is the real reason AI workflows matter in events. And thank you, Notebook LM, for whipping out these slides, because I certainly do not like to make slides myself. Now, we all know that event work is not a clean checklist. One small change touches 5 other things. A schedule change might look like a schedule change, but in reality, it can affect the logistics, the production, the staffing, the budget, the sponsor expectations, and the client communication. So event work requires a lot of context. It needs sequencing, it needs the system to understand what cannot move, what needs review, and what could create risk later. So this is the shift I want everyone to watch for today. Most people start with a chatbot type of thinking. Make me a schedule, summarize this, write this email, which is useful but really inconsistent, because one-off prompting in a chatbot can only get us so far. The more mature version is operation system thinking. You give the workflow a role, context, standards, constraints, and a consistent output format. And the difference is pretty simple. A chatbot can give you an answer, but a workflow supports a decision. And that is the bar that we're setting today. So our goal is pretty simple: to show what practical AI fluency looks like when it moves beyond the one-off prompting and into repeatable workflows. And today is all about making it practical. This is the operational reality underneath today's conversation. And I hope you're all ready for that. So here's the agenda for today. We will start with visibility, what needs attention before the day takes over. Then we'll cover execution, what happens when a schedule change hits the operating system of the event. And then we will end with growth, what happens when buyer replies start coming in and need to be classified and need to be qualified and tracked and move forward. Visibility, execution, growth. That is our plan. And now we did say that this will take an hour, but to be really truthful, we haven't rehearsed this. So we don't know if it's going to take an hour or two. I don't know. Hopefully not two, right? But we totally understand that if you have to drop, you have to drop. That's okay. We'll have the recording so you can come back to it. And with that, I am going to bring my guest in, and I'm very excited to have them join us. Let me make sure that I switch my screens here. All right, there we go. Hello, hello. Welcome,
Hi.
Chase. Welcome, Min.
Hello, nice to
Thank you
meet you
so much,
all.
Anka, for having us.
How are you all
Yes,
feeling today? You ready for this?
so
Yes, I'm
ready,
ready.
so ready.
I love it. Well, in so many words, I would love if each one of you could quickly introduce yourselves,
Mhm.
what you do, and the workflow that you're bringing
Of course.
today. You'll obviously have the opportunity to explain it in much more detail as we get into the demo. So, Min, let's start with you.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Min from Talk Value. Great to meet you all. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Talk Value, and Chase and I are real sisters, sister founders of this company. And what we do is we run an AI event agency that grows your outreach, community, and marketing.
I love it. Okay, Chase.
Hey everyone, glad to meet here. I'm Chase, co-founder at Talk Value. As Min told you, we are sister founders. Happened to run into Anka through Club Ichi, such a wonderful community of event professionals, and so glad to be here with all of you, like very invested in learning more about AI and how to better use it in daily workflows.
I love it. Well, I see the chat is starting to fire up. We have
Yes.
people joining us from Chicago, Mark using Copilot. We have, let's see, people chiming in from Orlando, Florida,
Oh my
Sky Virtual
God!
Agent, Copilot, Claude. Never heard of Sky Virtual Agent. I'd be curious, Joe, to
Me
learn
neither.
more about what that is. Then Seattle, ChatGPT, and Minneapolis, Claude, Gemini. And to your question, Damian, will you share the presentation? Honestly, we pieced together some of those presentations. We'll see if we can put in a PDF format in a Drive folder and then share it later. My slides, I don't know if they're worthy of sharing, but sure, I'll make it happen.
Definitely. And
All
like
right.
guys, tell us, like where if you need any, like 15 minutes call after this. I will
Yes.
definitely think you guys all need some more time of our, like with our assistant on how to really deploy it into your workflow.
Totally, absolutely. All right, so with that, I think let's get our started because we have quite a bit of stuff to cover. I mean, we're gonna start with your workflow, and for everyone watching live, I would love for you to drop in the chat. What is the first thing you check in the morning when you need to know what is on fire, especially on a Monday morning? You know, that's always gonna
Yeah,
be that time.
definitely.
The stress coming in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like, you could be email, Slack, calendar, spreadsheets, project tracker, or just,
Mhm.
that low grade cortisol hum that says something is wrong, but it
Cortisol,
doesn't give
yes.
you the details.
definitely.
That's what
Definitely.
means is here for, to give you a better way to make this more manageable via an actual workflow. So, Min,
Mhm.
take it away.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Anka, again for this amazing opportunity. And hi, everyone. I'm Min from Talk Value. Great to meet you all. Today's workshop is called Stop Drowning in Event Emails, which just Anka mentioned. And this title came from a very real battlefield I was also in. We managed great amount of events as well. So I'm going to show you what I mean in a second. And this is a no-code session. You do not need to be a developer. If you can download an app and copy paste the link, you can do everything we're about to do together. So let's get in. Quick 30-second intro of me is I'm Min, co-founder and CEO of Talk Value. I'm actually here in New York. So anybody from New York, we can chat in person if you want. So I was a CS major, dropped out to take the founder path and raised our first investment in 22. And everything I actually know about event, I learned it all from sitting in rooms with the event teams and watching how the work actually happens, which is exactly why today I'm sharing the workflow we run for our biggest client, not a demo of something theoretical. This is what we actually run every week. Okay, so let's get into this. Here's the quick version of what Talk Value does. So you have context like, why is this girl, like so into this AI and event? So what we are is AI first event agency that has internal AI products together. So we take years of your past attendee data, registration records, engagement, who came back, who didn't, and we use that to power three things event team already owns: outreach, marketing, the campaigns, and the community. Find the right people, run that campaign, keep them coming back year after year. That's the system we run for our clients. And that's where we want to now share you about our real stories about like how we use AI every day for our client. And I will introduce you one of the case study we have, and where I will be, telling you about what kind of workflows we used for this client. And it's a Knowledge Graph Conference 2026. It happened in Cornell Tech in New York City. We ran the full campaign, marketing, outreach, community, as any marketing agency does for the event, and AI-powered delivery all the way through. The outcome was amazing. Sold out event, happy hosts, happy sponsors. But of course, there's something more on the backstage. So what I had to do is also 6 virtual sessions over 3 months and 10 different speakers, all booked into different sessions, all different time zones, 15 short forms video clips plus 3 long form videos repurposed. So like it was a great result. Like we sold like $20K virtual tickets before the main conference because of this campaign. But the problem is, as you can easily see, my Gmail inbox was chaos. So if we run this kind of like main events, virtual events, engagement events, community events, you miss the reply, like how to reply, right? So many emails unread. This is so real. The problem is not that you are bad at email. The problem is that the emails that you need, most are buried under the ones that are just a noise. Also, sometimes we're not just tackling with this one client, right? So that's also a problem. So you need someone like a virtual assistant who can read your inbox, digest it for you, flag what's urgent, tell you what's stale, and surface what actually needs your attention today and this week and last month, So Claude definitely saved my life for this. And I will also let you know like how we really use it well. So for those who don't know like Claude yet, I will quickly just do an intro about that. So Claude is an AI assistant made by Anthropic. If you've used ChatGPT or Gemini, same family, but I'll say it's more practical model you can use. But here's the part that matters for us today. Claude can connect to all the places your work actually lives, your Gmail, Slack, Drive, Sheets, and everything, your everything. Not just read them, but also act on them. Once it's connected, it stops being just a chatbot. It becomes a real teammate you can work with. So it can open your Gmail, read threads, classify what's urgent. All those kind of things are possible with Claude. But the most important part is, right, how you kind of connect these tools to Claude. And that's where the Composio, the small letter here, or the Anthropic MCP, which is like internal Claude integrator. So these two are the ones that actually integrates your tools with Claude. And so the built-in connectors, what's called MCP, which stands for Model Context Protocol. You need to know this word in order to, how to use workflows here. So with those built-in connectors, MCP, Claude gets about like 7 actions for each tool. Like, for example, for Gmail, like 7 actions, mostly read and search through your inbox. It can look at your emails. That's it. So you can use just like this MCP that comes with you with the Claude, but we use Composio because it gives like 60 plus actions for Gmail alone. So it's like more actions can be done through Composio, kind of like different integrator. So you would, explore what are the best for you, but I recommend using Composio with Claude. So we use Composio. It's our pick, and today we are going to set it up together. Um, so about Composio, like just in case you didn't really understand like what it really does, is like every app you use, like Gmail, Slack, Google Calendar, has its own set of buttons, like the actions that they can do inside that tool, right? So Composio bundles all those remote control into one and hands it to Claude. So Claude uses Composio to press that buttons in each different tools. That's what Composio and Claude do the work together. And of course, you have to sign in all those different tools that you will be integrating with Composio and give that access. And then Composio will be able to read, send, reply, even label, draft, archive, everything for you. Okay, so you've got Claude, you've got Composio, and there's one more thing you should learn, which is a skill. This is where all the even professionals, there's a gap between different people. Like this is really important to use the right skill with the Claude. So let me explain what a skill actually is, because it sounds kind of technical and it's really not. It's really easy. So a skill is a folder of instructions that Claude reads, like a job description plus a playbook. Every time someone asks me to digest their inbox, here are the 12 steps I would follow in this order every time, same as much as they call me. So this is like a text file with a detailed job description. And because we are all in events industry, right? This mail digest skills is especially trained for the event. There can be a skill that's like trained for events. So through this, now you can have repeatable expertise. Every single time you can say, digest my inbox, and Claude does the same 12 steps. That's like directly, specifically written in the skills description. Not random things happen. So the exact same playbook runs every time. Now you just have to call that skill on Claude whenever you need it. And here's the powerful part. Skills are shareable with your team. And also, I will be also sharing you the skill we've created for our clients so you can install it in your Claude. That's the beauty part. So before I show you the skill pack, a few more concepts. GitHub, open source, and downloading a skill. So GitHub is like Google Drive for builders, folders of files, version history, comments. The difference is anyone can publish their folders publicly. You don't need to know how to code to download from it. Open source means the recipe is public on the website, free for everyone. So you can copy it, change it, share it back. That's what we did with our skill pack as well. So downloading a skill is literally a 3-click process. Like just find a repository. We call the Drive repository and then copy the URL. Like, it's like git clone the URL of the, the repository you want to use, and then just give it to your Claude, like copy and paste on your Claude, and Claude will install it. And then next time you chat with Claude will call that skill right away. Like if it even like seems to be similar thing you have to call. So this is what we built for events industry, event agency skills. It's just, like free GitHub repository. You can just use it and we'll be updating it as we are also using it for our clients as well. So I think my co-founder would have dropped on the chat the URL of this GitHub repository URL, so you can check it out. So this is like, let me just go into this. So there's like total 7 skills in this pack. And the first one is inbox digest. that's today's workshop. It classifies every event email by stakeholder type and priority tier, like vendor emails, speaker emails. There are so many emails you have to go through, and threads you haven't replied to. It tells you exactly what needs to happen today. And other than that, there are more skills in this pack, like cold outreach, vendor tracker, speaker management, budget tracker, post-event report, or registration analytics. Like all these kind of skills are there. But today, Inbox Digest, let's build it right away. So before we jump in, this is what the output actually looks like, which is amazing. So I use it every day. I would just come to code like this and then say, hey, give me an inbox digest for today. And it would give me about the KGC 2026. And it gives like immediate ones I have to go after, or today, and tracking and stale, like what's buried, and then I totally forgot about it. So for the immediate ones, like we would see the sender, subject, action, and also like for today, like what's in my inbox right now that's related to the event I have to go after, and the tracking, and like things that are flagged that I have to really look at it right away. So that's like what you can do after this workshop. So first things first, you should go to the Claude.ai. I believe everyone knows it, but just like to make sure that somebody doesn't know it, you can go to Claude AI right away and then sign up if you haven't already. And while you're doing that, I want to recommend one thing: download the Claude desktop app. Here's why: it lives in your menu bar like this. So you can actually click it like this and then it pops up right away. So this is really good tip, like download the app, that's easier for you. And there are two ways to run Claude. One is like this, like use the Claude app, like, hi, can you help me build inbox reader like this, right? And then you can just start a new chat and it goes right into the app, chat with the bot to make magic happen. But the second is the terminal. This is a terminal that I used for my daily uses, and there's also this looking like terminal here. So you can just spotlight search and then go search terminal, and it will open this terminal for you. So it looks very like developer style, but it's really easy to use. So if you've never used a terminal before, stay with me just like for 30 seconds, because I promise this is like simpler than it sounds. So your laptop already has something called like this, I told you, terminal, but it's like a text-based control panel for your computer. So you type commands, your computer does things, developers use it all day, but like you don't have to be a developer really to use it. So Claude app is like texting Claude. Terminal is like Claude living on your computer, inside your computer like this. You can go into one folder and then you can see what's in the folder. Like it literally just lives on your computer. So it has full access to your hard drive, files and everything. So by using Claude on terminal, it really gives you full access, easy access to your computer. So that's why I use terminal. And there's an app called Warp. That's also a really good tip. So Warp is like better version of terminal. Like it's a easy to use, user friendly. So definitely, check out the Warp. So let me open Warp. So this is Warp. You're seeing this. So you can just press the new tab right away like this. So you will see a field you can write in right away. So and then here's the thing: you can type Claude right away like this. But if you haven't installed Claude yet, you will see like, oh, command not found. So that's normal. Like it just means that Claude code isn't installed yet. So you can just easily Google how to do it on terminal. Then you can see the docs and just follow this on your terminal. Like I will just show you quickly how it looks. So you can just, search it on Google, like how to quick start Claude Code, and it will show you how to install Claude Code like this. And you can just copy and paste to the terminal, like here, like this. So everything that says like do this, do that on terminal, you just have to copy in and paste on your terminal, and it will start, installing Claude for you. And once you're done with the install part, you will be able to do the same thing I just did. Just type Claude and it will pop up on your terminal. So that's how you call Claude right away. And the second step is like, now Claude has access to your local files that you're using on terminal. You can say like, read the folder on my desktop called KGG 2026, and it will. And you can also drag and drop the file to here right away. So let's say I want to, read the one of like AI marketers community file, then like this, boom, like you can, actually drag and drop one of the file and then tell it, say like, hey, can you, read the files on this folder? Like you can also do this, like, which is really easy. You don't have to, like drag and drop all the files you want to put there. So that's how you can actually make Claude get an access to each folders on your local computer. So now we have set up the Claude. Let's connect Claude to Gmail. So go to composio.dev. That's like what I mentioned, the tool that integrates everything with your tools. And if you sign up and everything, you'll be able to see this kind of page. And on the toolkit, you will see all the things that you can actually integrate with your Claude, which is amazing. So you can actually, integrate Gmail, GitHub, Calendar, Slack, a lot more stuffs, even the Twitter and everything. So you just go there and then give access to Composio, and then let Claude know that we're using Composio. So that's how you connect everything. So, Composio is also free. So you can just go in and sign in and then click connect and then connect all the apps together. Just a few things to know is that you only have to just give access to these tools just once, which is great. And Composio doesn't store your emails. So it just acts as the bridge between the Claude and Gmail. So you don't have to really be very careful about the data, and you can revoke access anytime from your Google account settings. So no big worries about that. So once you've connected, you will see Gmail show active or like OS like this on the Composio.
Min, can I ask you a question? This is
Yeah,
from
sure.
the chat. Christy was asking, can you use the free version, or would you recommend a certain level that you would pay for?
Oh, for the Claude.
Yeah, sorry, it was like a few threads
Yeah.
before.
Very good question. I will recommend you kind of like going free first, because it's fine. Like it will give you the alert and the limits. Like for example, it's like a token based. Like if you make Claude work a lot, read a lot of stuff like PDFs, like just like what I was trying to do, right? Like, hey, go to this folder and read everything there, like all the PDFs files. Then the Claude will work a lot more, then it kind of hits the limit. Then you have to start paying. So I don't know, like how you, like everyone uses your Claude, right? So it's just matter of like how much you really want to use this. So just start with the free plan. Don't get so pressured about it, and then just start using it. And then as you use it, you will be able to know how much you use it, and then Claude will give you the answer like, hey, you should pay. Then you have to pay. And for our team, all our members are paying max. And still, Chase, my co-founder, hits the limit. So I guess we are a very heavy worker on Claude. So yeah, I hope that kind of answered your question. Yeah, so moving on. So we're almost like there. Now, you have integrated Composio. You can go to the GitHub now. the repository you want to download. So this is the GitHub. You can just go to the github.com and then sign in. And this is our repository that we created for the event professionals. You could even, make this repository for your team as well. And quick, tour on GitHub is, as I told you, it's like a Google Drive for builders. So you can see all these files were uploaded here. And you see this number, the star counts like here. So all these like repositories are public. It's like a blog content. So you can just like go and like start it. Oh, I love this, but of course you have to sign in to like do that. But and then fork it as well. Fork means it's like making your own copy. So if you want to customize the skills for your specific workflow, you can fork it as well and then get your own version, which is great. So it's like a really, like blog, like all these different folders of skills are uploaded on GitHub, and you can explore, like if there are other, repositories that you want to use, and then go there and then just like let your Claude learn the skills. Then you can use it right away, which is great. So if you check out the contents here, you will always find, like, of course, descriptions about the list of the skills here, but they will always have this quick start, how to make your, Claude use this. So you don't even have to think, just copy and paste here, like paste here, then Claude will do its job right away. You don't have to think, you just like go to the GitHub repository, check the quick start, copy and paste to your Claude, it will do its job. It's easy like that. So if you put that, and then it will start, installing and everything. And how you can know if it is installed is you just do this, and then so like one of the skill was like inbox digest, right? See, so you can see now like, oh, it has on the memory, like, oh, there's an inbox digest skill, and it's actually from the event agency skills, right? That's like what we just saw, right, on the GitHub. So by installing the GitHub repository on your Claude has these skills in its memory, so you can just call it. That's it. That's like so easy, right? So that's how you can install and then call it. So now let's talk about how we can really use it well practically. So what I recommend is when you call some skills, it is always important to kind of kindly let your Claude know about what you do, what your role is in this company, or what kind of event is this, and what kind of host organizers, like they are. So let's say like I'm running KGC, 2026, and most important senders are speakers, sponsors, venue contacts, and I need to follow up all urgent stops. And stale, you can define things. Means no reply in maybe 48 hours, or like even 2 hours can be, like stale. So I will just like put like hours or more. So like if you download the skill, you don't have to just follow the skill. You can also like this, like DIY the skills for your local memory. And then if I put this, like it will, like understand it, like, oh, okay, like this is what you do. And I will then, find the emails for you regarding this information. So that's like how you kind of, so like, and then you would even also recommend like, oh, do you want to use this skill, that skill for this, which is amazing, right? So that is like how you can kind of work with Claude. And let's now try calling the inbox digest. So as I told you, you can just press this button and then inbox digest. Let's wait. So if you call one skill, it will kind of ask you the right questions, so it will lead you to the right path. Okay, just wait for a second.
So while we wait, I'm curious, what should this workflow never do on its own? Where do you draw the line between surfacing information and taking action?
Oh, can you like elaborate on the question?
Like, you know how certain workflows, you give
Mhm.
AI a responsibility and then guardrails.
Oh
So where
yeah,
would you draw the line between, okay, you're just surfacing information versus
yeah,
taking
yeah,
action? Like, for
yeah.
example, in my mind, I'm like, you should never like automatically respond to all these emails. I need to first, see the draft before I make a decision if this is an
Yeah,
email that will go forward or not.
got it, got it. Yeah, so like that's a really good point. You can actually, as like Anka mentioned, you can make your Composio, even like Claude, to reply to these emails, like urgent emails, but so it has all the access. So it's really important for your team kind of define like what do you want to do with this skill first. And for this skill, it's just digesting, right? The emails, not sending out the emails. So we've made this repository that doesn't really do actions like replying, like sending out emails. But as Anka mentioned, you can do it, but you would definitely really tell Claude about your guardrails, the things that shouldn't be done through Claude. And that can be also like you should really tell Claude, like, put it in your memory, like save it in your memory and don't do it. So that's how you kind of can set up the guardrails for your Claude. If that answers well to your question, Anka.
No, it's good. I was just, curious how you kind of set
Oh,
the structure, the philosophy behind it. Like,
yeah. So all of these like guardrails is, yes, like mentioned, like logged in this GitHub repository. So we try to make it like make the rule of like, hey, don't send, like, and then draft it and then like check the draft and then we set like if we tell the cloud to send it, they will send it, but it will just only, make the draft. So yeah, that's really important part. So it's like, now it's already done right away. So if we code this like it has a the information already, like KGC ran May 4 to 8, today is May 12th, post event phase, really good description, right? And then it will say I will pull recent KGC drafts and classify with priority on speakers, sponsors, and venue. That's what I told him, right? So that's how it kind of starts going to all the Gmails we give them. And then it will also give us like and then it goes like right away to the today May 12th, even close when, and then the immediate emails that we should go for. And yes, definitely, I have to go back to Mina about this debriefing. Like Philip Foster is one of the sponsors of KGC, so I have to go back to him as well. So those kind of things are what you can see on the inbox digest, and it will. If you set up for the first time, it will ask you some questions like, do you want to see like recent 7 days, emails, or do you want to see like daily basis? And whenever you now like go to work, you will call this, right? You will call this skill right away, and then it will give you the recent reports based on the emails you get every day, every week. So this is one of the skills you can now start using, and you can go back to the GitHub repository you are using right now, and then see the list of the skills here, and then you will be able to call the other skills as well on Claude, and you can even mix it together like, hey, can you make a new workflow with inbox digest and cold outreach, which I think what Anka mentioned, you can actually then make a workflow of calling inbox digest, see what's urgent, and then start outreaching. Like that's also one of the workflow you can even make with multiple skills. Yeah, so I think that was like it for today, what I prepared for the workshop. I try to make it really easy to start and intriguing so you guys can actually have the motivation to try more other skills. So let me know after trying a few skills, and if you also, make your own repository, would love to go and start the repository. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Min. I really appreciate. Definitely lots to do with the workflow that you presented. Wait, I need my glasses. What am I looking at? So next, we are going to go into my workflow and gonna present a little bit. Just a few words about me for the introduction part. My name is Anka Platon Trifan. I'm the founder of Trifan Event Productions. Been a technical producer for 20 something years, turned AI strategist, speaker, also a host of the Events Demystify podcast. And really my work sits at the intersection of AV production, event technology, AI strategy, and human performance. I help event clients move from scattered system and last minute chaos into smarter, more connected workflows that actually support the people behind the event. On the AV side, that means helping clients through production strategy, technical execution, show floor, speaker readiness, and the real operational details that make an event work. On the AI side, I help teams move past random tool usage and build practical AI fluency, stronger system thinking, and workflows that save time without removing the human judgment. Podcasting is where I interview event professionals from the industry. Right now, we are actually running the CEO edition, and we spotlight leaders and turn complex ideas into content that builds trust, authority, and community. And then the Fit for Events framework, this is where I bring in the human performance, because event professionals cannot keep running on burnout and adrenaline and caffeine forever. The future of events needs smarter systems, stronger teams, and people who are mentally, physically, and operationally ready for the pressure of events. That's really the true line of everything that I do, basically helping event professionals and organizations produce better events, adopt technology more intelligently, and build the capacity to lead in a faster, more demanding industry. So the workflow I will be showing today is called the Show Ops workflow, and the tools used for this is Cloud Cowork and the connector to Google Drive to generate, read, analyze documents and spreadsheets. This could also be done with Cloud and SharePoint, or Copilot project could be also a very useful tool for connecting to SharePoint to replicate the workflow. And this comes from a very real production problem I had to solve recently while on event side during a loading. The client asked for a schedule change the night before, which sounds kind of simple on paper, but the second you touch the run of show, you are touching the whole flow of the event. So while that might sound manageable on paper, right, in production, that request can touch room flow and AV setup and tear down timing and sponsor value and meal windows and attendee movement. So before I show you the workflow, I'm curious just from all of you, what is the last client change that sounded simple but created a full operational domino effect, as you can see on the slide? Thanks, Chase. She's like, we've all been there. Yes, I believe you. Where one, thing can completely change the rest of it. Event people, I feel like they collect those moments like some kind of emotional support scars. And then we can share those war stories, and try not to have PTSD from it. So here's the scenario for today's workflow. The client wanted to change the day 2 session block from 6 30-minute sessions to 4 45-minute sessions. On paper, again, the math worked. 6 times 30 is 1 180 minutes, right? Now, 4 times 45 is also 180 minutes. But in a live event, mathematically sound is not always the same thing as operational safe, right? That change might affect the room flow, the AV setup, the tear down timing, which it would have. And this is just one simple request that can become this production nightmare. Now, a runner show is not a prettier version of the agenda. Some people think it is, but it's not. It really is the operational system of the event. It tells the team what has to happen, when it has to happen, what cannot move, what depends on what, and where the event should start to wobble. The chaos side is what happens when everything is sort of like floating and those dependencies are trapped in just someone's head. And then the control side is what happens when fixed anchors are protected and the system knows what can move, what cannot. And that is the difference between a schedule and an operating document. And this is the value of the workflow. Normally, when a schedule change comes in, someone has to manually recalculate the timing, scan for conflicts, check venue constraints, preserve the client's priorities, protect sponsor commitments, and think through the second and third order effects, right? And that is what a lot of event planners are doing right now manually. But that is expensive brain work under pressure. The workflow compresses this recalculation and protects the invisible constraints and surfaces some of the cascade risk and then create repeatability. The human does not disappear from the process. That's not the point of this. The human moves into a better position. So instead of rebuilding the whole thing manually and spending time on data entry, it can review the structure output like a leader that it is. Now, a lot of people focus on the prompt, and the prompt matters, but it is only today's problem. The skill primer that I'm going to show you next is the permanent standard, and Min touch on what a skill is. For me, I call it a skill primer because without a primer, I am just asking AI to help me with the schedule, and I might get something that sounds useful, but it can miss the whole production logic. With the primer, on the other hand, I am defining the role, the rules, the output structure, the constraints, the guardrails. So in this workflow, Claude is not acting just like some kind of a generic assistant. It is acting like a senior event production coordinator with context around the schedule structure, around the venue logistics, the AV constraints, the BO, and that is how we move from random prompting to repeatable workflow design. And this is the core of this show ops workflow. I'm not asking AI to make me a better schedule. That is how you get something polished and potentially totally useless. I am giving it the operating environment, the current schedule, the venue logistics, the client request, the BO, and that is what forms the skill primer that tells Claude how to think like this senior event production coordinator. The problem is the prompt in a chat bot is today's problem. The primer is the permanent standard. And that is what turns this from one-off prompt into, like I said, repeatable workflows. Now, this workflow needs 3 core inputs: the current schedule, the venue logistics, the client request. And those 3 inputs create that operational environment. And this is something that I've already primed the system to know. And I have done that through a series of documents that I've already created. And like, for example, the inputs, what you see on the screen, that's what lives in Google Drive. And you have the BO, you would have the sponsor prospectus, you would have agenda from day 1, agenda from day 2, you would have the ticket structure from today, and then we can take this and now feed it into the system and then ask it based on a trigger. So I have the skill primer set up, I have the trigger, and then run it through Claude. So the actual protocol that I use is step one is set the tension, right? Define what changes and why it matters. Then step two is load the context. That is where the skill primer comes into hand. Give the system the schedule, venue, logistics, and request. Then step three is when I'm going to show you running the trigger, asking for specific rebuilds. And step four, we're going to look at the logic, explain how AI is processing those dependencies. And then step five is walk the output, see what changed and what didn't. So what I have here in my document is basically all of this has been pre-created, and I always have a list of what I call them PRD documents, which is production, well, I'm showing you the wrong one. The production ready documentation that will inform Claude to pull from so that it knows what it needs to do. So for example, the skill primer is already ready to go, and I have already fed Claude the skill primer, because all I needed to do now is take the trigger, which is going to be this. So we're going to take this trigger already built. As I'm changing this, make sure that I'm grabbing it. And I'm going to go into my Claude session that, again, this is the primer, right? So the primer is being sent, and I usually do this in advance. Like I would say, I did this earlier this morning so that I have it ready. It already confirmed that the skill is loaded and ready. And now what it needs when I say run show ops is just to give it the trigger. And that is all the information required. Basically, this is the prompt. It's a very, very long prompt. So I'm going to let it run while I'm explaining a little more what is happening and what does it mean to walk the output, right? We definitely want to review what changed and also what stayed fixed and what needs human approval. This really matters because any workflow that you run should have that human with AI layer. The workflow is not producing a new timeline. It's just showing how it works, and it showed me what needs to be reviewed. Let's see. So this is basically where I would check if once it runs, and we're going to make sure that it runs. Probably it's going to need a minute. Okay, so it definitely generated the first step. And what I'm going to ask it is still doing it, looks like. Because my next thing, what I'm going to want to see is an actual Google spreadsheet that I can open up. So while it's doing all of that, a few things that I would want to check as, again, the human layer in the mix, because we're, and it's already running the past, right? Like the anchor times have been held, the floor time that's been changed. Also, no double booking across tracks. Launch window is not compressed, so it's still full 60 minutes. And anything that needs to be flagged is being flagged here. So it's also telling me what needs to be resolved before doors. So those are those red flags. And while this looks okay, right? What I would like to see is can we turn this into a Google spreadsheet? And we're gonna let it do that. So my checkpoints, right, going back to the checkpoints that I mentioned is, one, did it preserve the 180 minutes of floor time? Did it keep fixed those anchors? Did it keep it intact? Did it flag any compression risk? Did it identify where human review is needed, which it did? So all of that is part of that trigger point, because I want to make sure that those things are not missed. If you don't have those identified and presented, it could very easily be missed. So you want to make sure that not only this schedule is technically viable, but it also doesn't impact the event in other ways, because, a bad flow, it means a bad attendee experience. So we're not just looking at some kind of a revised schedule. We're looking at a preserved operational logic. Okay, so let's see what we got. Oh, that was the skill, wrong window. It's gonna take a minute to work on that. And somebody was asking, okay, spreadsheet ready, run of show, okay. And let's go and look at it. Okay, so we have day 2 managed to be all those sessions that needed to be moved. And this was what was given, right? Like day 1 and day 2 was what was given. It didn't look as pretty, which was fine. I mean, you can have a run of show whatever which way you want to, but I think giving it enough information in the primer, then you can turn it into something more visually appealing. I like my run of shows to actually visually appealing, just because then it's easier to, it's easier to jump at you if something needs your attention. Okay, so just as Min was saying, I usually, when I work with Cloud Code or co-work, I always back up everything that I do in a GitHub repo. She did a really good job on explaining how repos work. But like, for example, in my public repo, I have open source agents that I built. One is the AI speaking agent. One is the AI awards agent. I actually use this to judge the Event Tech Live AI awards. I have a very specific built AI skills for a specific group of people. I have my speaker processor package. This is what I would call a managing of speaker content, especially if you're managing speakers. Also Second Brain, which is what I built for myself. And for anyone that's new at Claude, this is a great repo to tap into Claude how-to, because it really takes you step by step how to install Claude, how to use Claude Code, Claude Co-work, all the Claudes. So that's available for anyone that's interested to fork from. As Min was saying, there is an option to fork from this to make it your own and then add to it. And then for those that are joining here, I actually also have my Event Pro AI Skill Starter. I have shared this during my workshops and keynotes when I speak. And it has everything you need, not just to how to set up Claude, how to build a skill. And it has obviously the README first, which, kind of tells you what you need to be doing step by step. But it also has a series of skills already pre-built, so that when you install it and when you bring it into Claude, then all of those are ready to go. So that is something that I want to provide to all of you that are joining us as a take home. So hopefully you can get to use Claude to the level that me and Min and Chase are using it. So let's see, we got that done. We got the output. Yeah, so my thing that I'm gonna kind of end here is, right, Claude can definitely calculate the dependencies, and it can rebuild all that time it, and it can flag the conflicts, it can reduce the risk. But really, it is the person behind, the human behind this workflow that will dictate what happens and what doesn't, right? So that is what this workflow only works with the person, the master's touch. Is this acceptable to stakeholders? Does this compressed lunch really bring value or not? Will the AV partner agree to the new turn, right? All of those questions you will need to answer as the person behind it. Yes, you can have Claude generate a pretty looking run of show, but it is still your responsibility how that gets executed. And the last takeaway I want to leave you with. The more mature use of AI is not asking you to handle random tasks. It is building a system that can hold context, it can rebuild structure, and it can produce something worth reviewing. And that is the shift that I want you to live with. So you can go from manual reconstruction to directing the system in the context, in the rebuild, in the mastery. And while you can use any of those workflows to do that, you need to build your own system that can hold the context and can manage all your own dominoes so that you can have the final operating code. And with that, it is my great pleasure to turn it over to Chase. Chase, let's get you on.
Thank you, Anka. And I 100% agree on the best practice of using AI. I do think that if you're using AI for a one-off task or a workflow, it is just not going to build that system that you want to work on top of. Unless you have the memory, the infrastructure set up for your whole team, or if you're working on your own business, then you're actually not using AI to the best potential. So my point from here is actually going to help you understand what it actually is to be building AI in system and infrastructure. So I'll just take it away.
Let's have your screen share ready so I can put it on the screen. Yes. And while you're in the chat and Chase is switching screens, I will be in the chat answering any questions you might have. Thank you, Chase, for being so active. I'm running the production behind here, and I'm trying to keep up with the chat, and already multitasking, at that level. So I definitely thank you, Chase, for taking the lead on that. And with that, go ahead.
Thanks, Anka. So if you stayed for the whole hour, you've already seen the half of my story where the inbox lands at you during event production. Hundreds of unread emails, show is in maybe 5 days. So I'm picking up on the other side of the same campaign where, what happens after you push send on maybe 3,000, 5,000 outbound buyer emails and the replies start coming back. That's where most teams quietly lose the pipeline they just paid to build. So before we get into the workflow, quickly, like 30 seconds on who I am and what we do. I'm Chase, co-founder at Talk Value. As Min told you, we work as if we're the in-house event marketing and sales team for shows and conferences. Not an agency at arm's length, but the team that actually runs the campaigns, picks up the replies and reports back to our clients. And our superpower is AI literacy across the whole team. Half of us are engineers building AI products and workflows. The other half, including me, are the executors who actually use and run them for customer delivery. And I want you all to, have faith in yourselves if you're joining with a little bit of, like anxiety over concerns, because I'm the non-technical one here. Anka has been humbling herself because she has a crazy engineering background. Min has a CS major background as well, but I am 100% business person. If I can do it, you can do it too. So of everything that we do, the one I'm especially proud of is the revenue engine that we've built for our clients. So today I'm sharing one slice of it. You saw this slide from Min, Talk Values, 3 pillars, outreach, marketing, and community. I'm going to drill all the way into the pillar 1, outreach, the operating system we run for buyer acquisition campaigns, week after week, cycle after cycle. So let me make pillar 1 concrete with the campaign we are running right now. Here is the live one. So this week, actually, we are running buyer outreach for K Expo. That's going to be hosted in LA later this month. The Korean content and creative buyer matchmaking event. It's like a whole show and production. And we've put approximately 3,000 to 5,000 buyer outreaches into the market across multiple different content categories. The campaign is in flight. Replies are landing every hour. This isn't like a closed case study with a sold out outcome like the one Min just showed you. This is the part Min didn't show you, what the operating system looks like in the middle of a live campaign. And 4 numbers tell you the shape of this campaign: about 3,000 outbound, 5 skills running the loop, 1 tracker tying them together, 0 replies dropped, because that's what the tracker is for. And we'll come back to those 5 skills. The number to focus on is the one in the middle, 1 tracker. That's the whole talk. Okay, so those 4 numbers only land if you felt the problem they are solving. And let me start there. Here's the real problem. You send 3,000 emails. The next morning, replies start landing. Some are real buyers asking smart questions. Some are out of office. Some are forwards from someone's assistant. Some are bounces. Some are please remove me. And some are send me more info from someone who clearly isn't the right person. By Friday, you've emailed or replied to a handful. By next week, you've forgotten which threads are still waiting on you. By next cycle, same event next year, same prospect list, you start from 0. Because the working memory of the campaign lived in your head and your head moved on. So that's why I was starting this my bit with agreeing to Anka's argument on the fact that we have to build a system. If you want to build a system, then we need to have a shift. And here's the shift. You stop trying to remember. You let the tracker remember, or your AI, by all means. The first morning you open Claude and it tells you, today there are 12 replies that need you. Here's who, here's what they said, here's what you replied to them 3 weeks ago, here's the draft. That's when the thing you were trying to hold in your head for the last 2 years finds a different place to live. So I've said tracker maybe 6 times in 3 minutes. Let me actually ground what it really is. It's not magic. Plain markdown file. And for some of you who don't know what markdown file is, like I was a month ago, it's basically a different format of a file. So columns are, like name, company, title, status, thread, timeline, notes, lives in the same folder as your skills. Looks like this, like the one that you're seeing here. And anyone can open it, anyone can edit it. It's not difficult. Your client ops person can read it. Version control sees every change, and Claude reads it before doing anything. And quick aside, because half the room is going to ask, again, what is Markdown file? It's a plain text file with simple formatting, asterisks for bold, pipes for tables, hash marks for headings. The extension is .md. You can open it in text edit in VS Code, and I'll show you what it looks like. It looks like this. It's not a proprietary format. And the natural next question is, why this instead of maybe a Google Doc or a Word file or a plain text file? So Google Doc actually lives behind an API. Every time Claude reads one, it's a network call with very brittle paragraph indices and a pile of style metadata before it gets to your actual data. So it's very slow, fragile, and Claude burns context on stuff that isn't your tracker, which means that it's going to burn up your limits and tokens. Word and PDF are binary formats. Claude can't read them directly. You'd need a conversion layer on top of them. So Markdown is basically the only format that's both human-friendly and Claude-friendly at the same time. So that's why we're using Markdown file as our tracker. You can open it up on your laptop like I just showed you. Claude can read it on top to bottom in one pass and write back in one line. And that's why it's the file shape under everything that we are going to do. And let's see. This is a slide I want you to remember. Some jobs are stateless. A triage, a digest. Min just shows you inbox digest doing one beautifully, one skill, one run, and it's done. That's the right shape for that work. A pipeline is a different shape. It's cumulative state who said yes Tuesday, who confirmed yesterday, who said ping me next year. And in a tracker, every skill reads it, every skill writes back. That's the contract. So 4 things the tracker buys you. 1, dedupe. No reply answered gets answered twice. And 2, memory. Yesterday's call still holds today. And 3, compound. Year 2 picks up where year 1 stopped. And that's the best scenario that we want, right? And 4, handoffs. Skills meet at the file, not each other. So the skill is the verb, the tracker is the noun, and the verbs change while the noun compounds. And Claude, let's see, Composio and skills, Min walked you through all of them. Let me show you how it all fits together. 5 skills, 1 tracker, and 1 loop. So each skill is narrow, each one does 1 job. Buyer reply on the top that you see, that one handles the first touch reply, reads the tracker, scans Gmail, and classifies the reply by intent and drafts the reply, writes the new contact and status into the tracker. And the second skill that we're using today is called buyer follow-up, handles the second reply and later threads, different tone, reads the full thread history plus the tracker, and then drafts the reply email. And the tracker log is the maintenance skill where every handled reply gets a row appended or a status updated on the tracker and like the markdown file. This is what keeps the tracker honest. And tracker update is the bridge to your registration platform. If you're using Huva or Luma, Suga, whatever it is, reads confirmation emails. If they don't provide their own MCP or CLI, we're just using email as a form of delivery of vessel. So bumps tracker statuses from interested to confirmed. That one you can also do, but we're skipping that part today. And tracker sync is the bridge to your client, pushes tracker to a Google Sheet, format your client, the format that your client wants to see in their schema, not yours. So the tracker that I showed you, which is built on the markdown file, as you can see here, this is like for internal purposes, how many you have emailed, how many you have replied to, and the total, threads, the conversion rate from each cohort if you've plugged in Apollo as well, or whatever email outreach platform that you're using. This is for internal purposes. And as you can see here, we now have 5 deal status that are live. And all these data, these are synthetic data, just letting you know. And as you can see here, out of 5, Mr. Murphy, he cannot come. So that's why for the Google Sheet that we are using for external purposes, we only have 4 buyers that we are reporting back to our client. So we're using Sheet for client reporting purposes and the tracker markdown file for internal tracking purposes. So just keep that in mind while we run the demo today. And today's demo, it's actually going to cover the first 3, buyer reply, buyer follow-up, tracker log, and then jumps to the 5th, tracker sync. You can always do more. Wire the 4th, tracker update for registration confirmations, or push further and use Apollo or any other outreach or data enrichment platform that you're using for every reply back into your contact record, both tracker and Sheet. So for example, if I go back to the Google Sheet here, you can see that there are blank spots here because these are synthetic data. I have not run Apollo on them, but if you are using Apollo or any other data enrichment platform and you plug that in again on Composio, then Claude will be able to use that platform to enrich the missing fields here, whether it's on Sheet or whether it's on Markdown file. You can just let him know that you need the data. So here it is. And then live demo. So 5 narrow contracts, 1 shared file. The tracker is what lets them work together without stepping on each other. And quick checkpoint before we actually open Claude. The tracker is the hero. So remember that It doesn't run alone. There are 2 integrations and 3 artifacts you have to bring with you. I want to name them all, so when the pack ships, you know what else needs to be in the folder before the skills can actually do their job. So quick note before I list them, the pack you're using today is in final review. It's not on GitHub yet. If you want the moment it goes public, drop me a note at the end of the talk and I'll send it. So 2 integrations, Google Workspace, Gmail, and Sheets with 1 canonical sender authorized. Whatever you sent the outbound from, Apollo in our case, that's our second integration, and it's already the source of truth for every contact you've ever campaigned to. Composio sits underneath both, recommended, not required, but it's what unlocks the full, Gmail tool belt and lets you run multi-account setups. For me, personally, because I deliver to multiple different clients, I have different separate Gmail accounts, and I plug all of them in to Composio, and my Claude gets access to all the different Gmail accounts. And 3 artifacts, the buyer tracker, you saw it on the slide, the previous slide, the client sheet in whatever format your client wants. For our demo today, I've prepared the Google Sheet. This one's required, not optional. The whole point of the workflow is that your client sees the pipeline the same time your team does. And the one I want you to circle is the prospect-facing source of truth. This is the file, the reply skill grounds its answers in, pricing, travel, stipends, agenda, exhibitor directory, registration, logistics, anything a prospect might ask. Without this file, the reply skill makes things up. It will confidently quote prices that don't exist and recommend exhibitors that just aren't there. And this is the artifact people forget, so don't forget this one. And I've collected all the artifacts and then saved them into one folder here, as you can see. And my Claude Code has access to all the local files, and I've specifically, told the skills that we are just keeping a running history of all the documentations here in this folder, so it has access to the directory as well. Directory, it looks like this. It's also synthetic data that I created for the live demo specifically today. It's a list of the synthetic exhibitors who are exhibiting at this expo that buyer prospects are interested in participating. So what Claude Code does is understanding this document as the source of truth data when it's drafting replies back to the buyer prospects. So keep that in mind. And let's go back to where we were. Okay, so that's the kit. Now we really run it. So 5 steps live. On a real Gmail inbox, we created mock data for the demo, but every step you're about to see runs the same way against the production inbox. And here they are. So ask one line, and then it's going to draft replies, and then you're going to click send, log and sync the tracker, and compound the playbook. So let's start. I'm going to start by accessing Claude Code. And if you're familiar with Claude, it has multiple different modes. The one on the left, it's chat, but it doesn't do much. It's basically going to be the same as ChatGPT, just answering while you're on the session, but there is just no memory living across or among the sessions. And Cowork, it has some access to the local files, but it will require again and again on the scope of work that you want the Claude to do. So we are going to use code, which is the perfect mode for this specific workflow. And what I'm going to ask is, I'm just going to type in any new replies from Expo buyer prospects. And this is going to run a Gmail inbox digest to start with. So that's it. No command, no prompt template, and the skill is scoped tightly enough that plain English routes to buyer reply. And this instinct to overprompt is the thing that's, something to unlearn, because Claude doesn't really need ceremony when the skill knows its job. And yes. So it is going to run the MD file and then project LA outreach as well.
So, Chase, while that's happening, I'm
Mhm.
curious, what is one of the questions that you get asked the most when you
Mhm.
deploy this workflow?
One of the questions that we get asked the most is why code? Why does it have to be cloud code, not co-work? Because a lot of people, they assume that cloud works the same way on different modes, and they do believe that chat is actually enough for a lot of co-working and file generations as well. But in fact, if you really get to know how to use Claude, code is the most in-depth, functionality that Claude can offer you, and it's the best version that you can ask for when you're running such sequenced workflows like the one that I'm showcasing now.
I couldn't agree more. Like, even as we were talking and while your agent is running there, like
Mhm.
I am I'm running two separate instances in the background that
Mhm.
one is cloud code in the terminal and the other one is OpenClaw fed by OpenAI API. Because if I use Cloud API for both agents, I run out of my tokens so fast. And one is actually working on on one job, one task, and the other one is working on a different task. And you can do that. That's the thing about with cloud code. You can do that in parallel. And not only does it have access to your own files locally, but it can also, go online and get information, whatever, from different places. But most importantly is where it connects to a repo. So then
Mhm.
in 5 days from now or 5 weeks, if I have to come back to that one task, I can draw whatever information and memory I need so that I can continue the task versus I have forgotten what we worked on and the
Exactly.
agent has forgotten what it worked on, and now you have to repeat yourself.
I know exactly. That's why I feel like building a memory for your Claude or your own AI is like especially important when you're doing such a high context work. And I feel like every event, every work that you do for an event is such high context, and it's such a fast paced environment as well. Like one decision would get updated the next day or the next hour. And that's why it's really important to keep that single source of truth data where every member of your team can access and just refer to and cross-check.
Yeah, no, totally. This is basically, I've been preaching this through workshop and keynotes, like again and again. I'm like, yes, we can get very technical into
I
using
know.
this tool, this tool, this tool. But if the mindset and the structure of what you're doing is not solid, the foundation basically, you're going to repeat yourself again and again 1,000 times, or you might miss on context
Mhm.
that is only, like you said earlier, you mentioned exactly basically what I said, like lives in someone's head. I
I
can
know.
guess what you know. I don't know what you want unless you tell
Oh
me.
my
Okay,
goodness.
I'll let
Exactly.
you get back to the output because
100%.
I see things are moving there.
Oh yes. So I did a little like guardrail where it was just trying to look for the real personal information. So I just told Claude to look for the demo prospects, and it did come back with the replies that are unread and unresolved. So it's just running drafts to reply back to all leads here, and it has already categorized the intent data, and now we have 6 leads who are very high signal, and then 3 warm leads and 2 who declined the offer, and some noise as well. So based on the drafts, what I would never do is actually letting my Claude just send the reply right away with the draft that it just drafted. So Claude pulls the inbox, classifies, cross-checks with the tracker, just making sure that we're not missing anyone, and drafts a reply for each real buyer, grounded in the prospect-facing source of truth that I just showed you, but drafts only, never really sending. you'll see them populate as Gmail drafts in a second. I'll show you how the drafts are saved in my Gmail inbox as well in a second when that's done. But it's just our house rule. But like Min said, and like what Anka explained as well, it really depends on how you work and how your team works. For me personally, I just don't want the reply to be sending out with any unapproved notice. So quick note, between step 1 and 2, there is a moment where Claude is, cross-checking the tracker to see who's already been replied to and who's a follow-up. I'm not going to flip windows to show it, but that's happening behind the scenes, and that's the dedupe running. So it's still working. Oh, now it's done. Perfect. Okay. Let's see if that has been saved. Let's look at the drafts here. Yes, you can see that there are drafts already being created by Claude to each person. And you can see that, for example, to Lawson, Mr. Lawson, he is interested, right? So he's telling us to let him know the details. And based on this intent and the ask, Claude has drafted an email with some, information pulled from the directory markdown file, and he recommends some matches. And let's go back to find maybe another email that shows no interest. So we know that Claude has replied with good intent and context. Yes. So he's going to pass on this one, and it's replying with all good. And if interested later, happy to circle back. And I just make sure that on every reply, that is definitely the one that I want to send out to. And again, on the house rules, you can always update and just improve your skills. And that's what skills are for. They're never meant to stay the same. They're meant to evolve with your own learnings and with the progress of your own events. So let's actually ask our Claude to CC Min for all replies to all hot leads. And then it's going to update the replies with CCs, because now we don't have any CCs. But by adding these like small rules or your own ideas, you can always update not only the task, what you're looking at your hand right now, but like for any future tasks. So let's see. I don't know which one is the hot lead from the outside, but we'll be able to tell when we go click. Oh, was it not done yet? Oh, it was still running. Okay, so it's going to delete and recreate the drafts for the replies that need updating. And then I am going to click send. I can click send, but these are like all synthetic emails, so they are not actually going to be sent to real people. But just adding my thoughts here again, I like it this way just to be safe, drafts only, never auto sending. Every reply gets my eye, proofreading before it leaves the building. The trade-off is one extra click. The payoff is that nothing weird ever gets shipped under my name. That's something that I like. You can absolutely wire this.
I think this is exactly what we were talking, when I
Yeah.
asked Min the same question. It's exactly the
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of guardrail that is so important to have in place. I feel way more confident when I proofread something versus just sending. And to be honest, I have a story about someone that was really much into automation, and this was before necessarily Cloud Code. I think they were using Zapier and then the email client, and they got into a lot of trouble because the automation tried to do its best, but they lost several big name clients due to it,
Mm.
because the response was not as personal, and it came
Yeah.
read as coming from a machine, right? Nobody wants to be, getting that email where Mr.
No,
name, it's like,
that's
no.
catastrophic. No. Exactly. Yeah. So definitely don't expect like the perfection, because if you don't know what the ideal state is, then your Claude wouldn't know it either. So you better have some idea of what you want as the output. That's the only way you can get the work done through Claude. So now we have it. Let's check if the update actually happened. I'm just going to click refresh and so for the ones who asked for some recommendations on exhibitors, they're definitely hot leads, and Min is CC'd now. So as you can see, you can update the skills as well. Let's say update the skills so that we can always CC Min for all hot leads. For now. And this, learning loop is as important for Claude as much as for you. So step 4, I'm going to move after this skills are updated into logging the internal doc, but also syncing the external sheet. So tracker log writes the round into the markdown file. You can see, you'll be able to see the status flipping once this is done. And then outreach sent to maybe interested and interested to confirmed. Then tracker sync pushes the same state into the client's Google sheet in their schema, same source, 2 different views. One thing I'll mention, but skip live again, if you sync any of the data enrichment tools like Apollo, you can also write back into the contact record on every reply we handle, and reaches the cross-campaign history. We are skipping that part today, but it's how the platform stays current across cycles. Maybe I should have just skipped this part. This is taking some time, but we'll wait until that's done. But honestly, really, having that learning loop is really important. Every draft I just rewrote, every reply I tuned, every rule I overrode, that's a signal. If I keep it in my head, it dies, the next time I open a new chat. So I'll write it back into the skill file. The playbook gets sharper every cycle.
I love that. I was going to say, the fact that you mentioned, yes, this might take a minute. It's the reality of actually working with workflows.
So
yes, it is helpful and efficient and productive, but there's still, some waiting on the execution of the agent, especially if he has multi-steps. So that is totally expected. Now, obviously, when this is running in the background, normally, if this were me, I would be doing something else or spinning other agents in the background, So you're always going to do something even though this is happening. And I think that's where the problem comes when I talk about context switching and cognitive overload. I personally, and I'm curious about you and Min, if you're still here, join us. I'm curious if you ladies have experienced that, where because you're constantly context switching between this window and this agent and this input and this output, that feels like I'm much tired at the end of the day than if I were like running a marathon.
So true.
That is so true. And also, I think it's really important to, plan how parallel, you want to work. Okay, this kind of will take a bit for, Claude to get all the information. So I will, do this stuff, that stuff. So that's why I think it is important to have list of agents, the skills that you want to use daily basis. Meanwhile I run this huge stuff, I will check on the email digest, to see what I didn't miss, and also run other small skills that you would have it as a daily routine. So it's really it is important to make your own routine, small stuff, big stuff, run it all in parallel.
Yeah, totally. And give yourself a break from time to time. Go for a walk.
Yeah.
That's so important. Yes. Yes. Go get a glass of water.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I do have like about like 7 containers like next to me, which is water and protein shake and sparkling something, a tea. Like who knows? Like when I come in my office, it's like this whole side of my desk is like
Oh my goodness.
okay. Chase, tell us what's happening here.
Yes. So the tracker is updated. Let's see. Oh, wow. So, okay. So remember we used to have 5 deal statuses live on the tracker markdown file. Now it's updated to 16. And you can see how it has marked the status and the threads, when we replied back to each person. And because this is like for internal like purposes only, it's logged everything. But for the sheet, we should be able to see those who are only interested here as like intentionally. So I'll tell Claude to update the sheet as well. And if there is like a mismatch with the counts, row counts between the sheet and the markdown file, that's like 100% intentional. So let's wait until that's done. So like this, we have created this skill like maybe like a couple months ago, and I honestly have been loving using the workflow because the pain point of working with any beautiful and competent client is that and at the end of the day, you got to report back to the client on your own work and the result. And it just creates another layer of operational work that you just don't wish you were not the one who was like handling it. So the way that I do with this workflow is I would just let it run. And Anka, you asked the question. And while it's running, I would review the replies that it has drafted. And that part, that's a creative part. That's the part where you as a human and you as an expert, you have to make the decision. Don't delegate decision making to your AI. Your AI is the best at remembering. Honestly, remembering is what it's
And
supposed to be
seeing
really good at.
patterns, like seeing
Exactly.
patterns, connecting the dots, which is super
Mm,
important. But like you said, it's like decision. This is where informed decision based on this outputs is really powerful.
mm, 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 mm. So true, so true. So it is running, and in a minute we should be able to see, yeah, as you can see here, it is writing its rows. And here we only have those who have shown interest. So this number of rows, it just updated the summary here. It's definitely going to be different from the total count of rows that you see here because it's client facing. And for this purpose too, you can also create your own rules and update the skills cater to your need or your client's needs. So just recapping the workflows that we just looked at now, ask a very simple one line in plain English, and that's just going to call all the skills that you need. And it's going to draft replies. And personally, I don't like my Claude to auto send, but for you, you can also do things differently. And I click send and log internally, sync externally as well, and compounding the playbook like I told you. There are going to be times when Claude just makes mistakes again and again, and you better make good memory of that and let Claude know not to repeat that again. And that's the loop, 5 skills, 1 tracker, and replies that don't drop. So questions, anytime, drop them in chat if you do have them, and I'll answer as we go. So
thank you so
this
much,
is everything.
Chase.
Yes.
Let's get Min in here too before she gets kicked out from.
Yeah.
Well, first off, I just wanted to say wow, those were some amazing workflows. I know for sure I will be going back, watching the recording in probably slow-mo, so I can follow step by step.
Yeah.
When you're doing a bunch of other things, multitasking with the chat and the production and all the behind the scenes. Like, I can't give my brain enough to the workflows that both of you share. So I want to thank you both. As I'm wrapping up, any last words, anything that you like to share, either about the workflow or the work that you do?
Um, Nothing about the work that we do. I just really want to say that I appreciate the enthusiasm from the chat and everyone who joined our live today. I honestly didn't expect this much of an enthusiasm, and I'm just like blown away. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you
think my favorite
all.
comment were from someone that said, I love how there's like three powerful women
I
founders
saw that
talking
comment.
AI. Like, come
Yes.
on, we want to see more of this, right?
I know. We need more
Yeah,
of
I know,
this.
I know. Girls know how to get their shit done.
Facts.
Yes.
Well, with that, I'm just going to wrap up really quick here. And what I wanted to leave you all with is the fact that when we, put this together, we weren't sure how many people would be interested to join. And I'm so glad that we saw such a wide range of people wanting to join. And I know, yes, we ran longer. We did give a little bit of disclaimer that this might be, but this is the reality of live demos. Like, you can never always time it
Yeah.
right. We will
Exactly.
have the recording as a memo for anyone that didn't make it to the end. And thank you for everyone that engaged in the chat. Super impressed with the conversations that were had, and especially on LinkedIn. Like, if you tune in from YouTube, probably you didn't get the same experience, but on LinkedIn, the chat was firing. And I hope that you take the time coming back to the on demand and give it some time to really walk through each one of the workflows. Means daily event, ops briefing. It was such a good workflow to have in general, just running
Yeah.
your life, your crazy life on a Monday morning. I'm all for it. Then the show ops workflow is another amazing workflow, especially on the event side when things change and they move so fast, instead of having to put in manual hours that you just don't have. And then Chase's buyer acquisition pipeline. I mean, if you want to grow, you have to have a strategy. You have to have this workflow. So make sure that you tune into that. Well done, ladies. So proud of the work that you've done and you put together. And I think the main takeaway out of this whole thing is the human still makes the judgment. Yes, the
Yes.
workflow can hold the context. Yes, it can reduce the manual drag. Yes, it can catch all the stale threads, timing consequences, missed dependencies, all of that. But it is the human that decides what matters. And both of you mentioned that, both of you repeated that, and so did I. So if that was not clear, I hope we make it clear here in the closing. And with that, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Min. Thank you, Chase.
Thank you,
And
Anne.
we'll
Thank
see
you,
you
Anka.
in the Slack channel, Club Ichi. Join us. We'll put a link in the chat there for anyone that wants to join us, because there's so many conversations being had there.
Definitely.
Amazing. Thank you, Anka, and everyone for having
Great
us.
experience.
Let's talk more. Stay tuned for amazing journey ahead of us.
Yes. Thank you.